Folks, I will give you guys a second as we get ourselves settled here and tuned in. Sorry for any difficulties. Let me see. I'll know in a second if we did it right, though, because our viewer count will go up, and it always takes a second delay from when we start. So prayers for this, please, please, please. Okay, cool. I see some of you at least are hopping on. That is good. We'll give it a moment here. If you're already tuned in and can hear us, let us know. We will have Jenna in the background today for this course tour. I see her popped in. She's not going to be on video, but she will be here with us in the chat. I will give it a few more seconds as we let you guys all in. Do drop a hello, though, please, and let us know where you're tuning in from. You're going to be watching the FDN course tour here, so this will be good. Holly, I'm glad that you made it. Holly, if you don't mind, I need to survey you right now because I need to know what just occurred to make sure everyone else gets the memo. Did you do this link from your email? Did you do this link from the YouTube thing or the YouTube recommendation I gave you guys when we finished up? So I'm glad to see y'all tuning in, but let me know how you got on, Holly. And the rest of you guys can do the same thing as well. I just can't tell if you guys were all on the last thing and that's how you joined in, or you got a separate email, which ideally would be the second option. Okay. And then, sorry, Brandy, it takes about 30 to 60 second delay to get their answers on this. So
no
link from YouTube Live. Okay, so Molly's coming from the last one. All right, no worries at all. We'll give it a second here then. I do want to introduce Brandy because you guys only got to see her on recorded stuff this past week and a half. So this is day 8 of our Discovery Series, if you're not counting weekends. Biggest Black Friday sale ever here at FDN. We have $2,000 off the FDN course. We have never done something percentage-wise even close to that publicly, which is really cool. So that is the biggest sale since 2008. And I'm sorry, we haven't done this in 2008. I'm saying that it's the biggest sale since this all began in 2008. And that sale started on November 10th and is good until December 1st, end of the day of December 1st. And that is in California time. If you're not good with time zones, so 11:59 p.m. Pacific on Monday the 1st. So, all right, let's see. I went to the YouTube homepage and then the live. Okay, so it seems like everyone that did make it here so far was from the recommendation that I gave. So I'm really glad that I said that because I figured this must have gotten screwed up the other way. I'm going to tell the team we need an instant email, please, giving people the updated link. Okay, hopefully they can get up here, but you guys have first dibs, which is awesome. So Brandy Busco, she is our COO, Chief Operations Officer, and I always jokingly and really not so jokingly call her our CEO for Chief Everything Officer. I do not know anyone at this company who could fill in for as many things. I think it's literally everything. If a medical director called out, she's got it. That's where she started at in the company. I have had to bail on certain things with actually Holistic Health Week back in October due to internet outages. No problem. She's hosting for that. She can pretty much do it all. So, and you've been in FDN for over 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. I'm coming up on 12 years in January.
Absolutely awesome. And working for FDN almost as long. And what's cool is, just so you guys know, no one has asked this, but I think it's mostly because people are polite and they always wonder. They kind of think like, hey, Ev, you're talking about FDN and these awesome opportunities out of it, but you work for FDN. Same with Brandy here. We actually both have our own practices, just so you know. So we always say, FDN is kind of something that you work for. Yes, obviously reads very fair. And, these are jobs that you're paid for, but you really do this because you love it and you want to be here and you want to continue to see this mission grow. I've talked to Brandy about this one-on-one many times. She's just so passionate about seeing what is the next step here. And for you, it's got to be even cooler watching when I can't even imagine how many employees were here when you first started. And then, we have our team meeting on Tuesday, just yesterday, and we got like 50 plus people on from all around the world. You got people in the Philippines, California, Canada. We got Pam tuning in from God knows where. I think she's in Greece right now. Yep. So we literally have people all over the world trying to make this work for you guys and get it out to as many people as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just really passionate about the mission of FDN alongside, helping my clients. And that's why I'm here. I want to get as many people into FDN so they can learn about what we have to offer and how they can then help people. So that's why we do it.
Cool. All right. So we are going to get into a course tour. I don't want to necessarily stall here, but I want to be also respectful. It's tough because I want to be respectful to the people who got here on time. And then I also want to be respectful to the people on the link side. So Brandy, I don't want to force this out of you, but do you have anything that you would like to start with that maybe isn't the full course tour yet, just to give us a couple minutes of grace? And if not, again, I don't want to awkwardly force something. We can just get into it. And of course, people can watch the replay.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we won't jump into the course right away, but we'll do a little like tour of FDN Connect and kind of show some of the
Sure.
new things that are on there. So I'm going to share my screen,
Great.
and you let me know when you can see it. You should see FDN Connect, and does
Yep,
that
I
look
just got to bring
good?
it in here. Give me one moment because I'm going to hide the chat overlay so we get some more space here. And then I have to bring
Awesome.
in your screen share. All right, you're good to go.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so this is um, kind of I call this the internal website, but this is the website that we give access to all of our students and graduates. This is where all the FDN information lives. So whenever you register for the course, you'll pretty quickly get a username and password to log in here. And when you log in for the first time, you're going to be greeted by this welcome page. Basically, this is a dashboard, and this is where you can navigate around to the different places. So you could go take a look at the courses, which we're going to do in a second. Um, Once you graduate from the course, we have our association, which is our post-grad support, and that's AFDMP, so you can get to it there. I am going to talk about Business Launchpad today. So this is new that we added. But if you want to get business support when you graduate, this is where we'll go. And then down here, now it looks like I have not done the course, but this is also where you can see your progress in the course if you've done any of your practical exercises, which is really cool. And then we've got some events and announcements. So you can see here we've got a ton of events going on all of the time. So this is kind of your one-stop shop for all the things that are going on here at FDN. You come in here, you can find everything, your course. We have our whole document hub. Maybe I'll show that. And then Evan, let me know when you think we're good to go on the course, but I may show the document hub here because I think that would be super helpful. There we go, right here.
Yeah,
So this
let's
is,
do that because our numbers are climbing up. Thank you guys very much for your patience, by
yeah.
the way. We're only going to take another minute or two, so we'll do this real quick, Brandy, and then I think we are good to go.
Yeah, awesome. So the Document Hub, this has been around since the very beginning. I remember the early website when I did the course back in 2013. A lot of these documents were in here, and these are all documents that we create and give to you that you can then share and use with your clients. So, the questions sometimes come up in sales calls where I've done them is like, do you give me intake forms? Do you give me documents I can share with my clients? Like we've got a ton of documents in here that you can brand, you can share with clients. So we really try to help you out and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So just kind of giving you a little tour of some of the things that we have. We've got a whole bunch of resources in here. We've got our policy section, additional products. So that's kind of just a lay of the land of what we call FDN Connect. And I'm going to go back to the beginning and we'll jump into courses.
Perfect. I wanted to answer one quick question. Dawn has been on for a lot of these. Holly has been too. So I'm really glad both you guys are here. I know, Dawn, I'm not even sure if you had already signed up because I know that you said that you were getting rolling. Holly, I know you're still considering things, but this is definitely an important one to get on. We did have a pre-recorded course tour the other day. Someone had asked about this and said, well, what's the point of being on this one, or is this one still beneficial? So we'll keep this one slightly more concise today, and we're really here to answer a bunch of your questions. So please make sure you're thinking about things that have come up for you over these last 8 days of our Discovery Series. Like, man, I wish I could just have this answered, or I don't understand this yet. Between Brandy and myself, honestly, if I'm being real, Brandy could do it by herself. We could literally answer every question FDN that you could possibly throw at us. So we're here to help with that. And then Dawn had asked really quick, do we have graduates in Minnesota? We certainly do. I said this in the chat, but I don't want to misspeak because I know that we have graduates in over 50 countries around the world. I can't think of one state that I haven't heard of us having FDN grads in, even including Wyoming, which is the lowest populated state. Is there any state that I'd be missing? I feel like we have them everywhere.
I do think they're like, I was thinking, maybe you'd say Alaska or Hawaii, but we have practitioners in those
Alaska.
states for sure. Yeah, we do have
Yep.
some in there. So
I know for a fact we have those too as
yeah.
well. Yeah. Cool. All right, thank you. So we'll get into this course tour. Think about your questions.
Sure.
If you have any as we're going along, throw them in. That's why we also have Jenna in the background, so she's in the chat. And we can actually star them on our end. So then we will star them and still ask them once Brandy is wrapped up. So let's get into this course tour, folks.
Awesome. And just remember, as I'm going through, I may talk a little bit fast because we want to get you guys to the section where you can ask us questions. If you have a question, I'm likely going to answer it as I progress, but here we go. So the way I like to start these is I like to tell you what happens when you enroll. You go to the checkout page, you put in your information, you click enroll. What happens? So within a couple of minutes of registering for the course, you're going to get an email from us, and it's going to give you the link to this website, and it's going to give you a username and password. And this is where you're going to log in to access your course material. So you get access to the course material right away. The other thing that you get included in your course tuition is 5 test kits that you will be running on yourself. Them are because the modules are built to discuss those tests. So let's go into the course modules here. And this is where we has all of our courses. Now you'll see I have a bunch here because I have some advanced courses in here, but this is the one that we want to look at. This is the main certification course. So we're going to go over there. And once you jump in here into the main course, and because we're doing a course tour, we're having tech problems because it doesn't look correct, but that's okay. So we've got all of our modules here, and as you open each module, there's going to be lessons within the module, and then each module or lesson is going to have a quiz. The quiz is multiple choice, and the reason that we do the quiz is we just want to help you test to see if you grasp the information that we just taught you. So I'm going to jump into the welcome module right here just so you can see what it looks like and kind of how things are structured. So we give you some videos. We kind of give you a little overview of what's going to be covered. For the most part, our videos are no longer than 25 minutes. Many of them are about 15 minutes because we want to make sure that you can take in the information in bite-sized pieces. So you may notice that in some of these lessons, we have multiple videos, and that's the reason why. We want to be able to allow yourself to pace yourself and then make sure that you're really understanding what you have watched. So this welcome module just gives you an introduction to the course. It gives you some best practices. This is a nice little video from our team just talking about how you can get support, how to download the curriculum guide so you can pace yourself as you're going through, some reminders, and things like that. This is also where you can download all of the course slides. And so we've got the ability to do that, but we also, you can see here, give you the ability to download the slides module by module. So it's totally up to you how you want to do it. Some people want to download them all from the very beginning and take notes as they go. Some people want to download them as they get into each module. Either way works. You'll also notice that we have audio files. So we have MP3s in here that you guys can listen to. So maybe you've gone through a module or a lesson, and then later that day you're washing the dishes and you want to listen to what Reed said again, you can listen to the audio file. So we give you all of those in each of the lessons. So as we start to go here, I'm going to show here on the left-hand side. And Evan, is this big enough for people to see?
Well, that's a good question for them. So I can answer one while we're doing that. Guys, please let us
Sure.
know. We need the engagement. Otherwise, we won't realize. And it takes 30 seconds. Is this large enough for you? Because I can easily change it. Just drop a 1 in the chat if it isn't. 2 if you'd like it a little larger. 1 for good, 2 for better. Someone had asked, though, do we get to keep the video or lifetime access to the course? That is what's so cool about FDN. You do have permanent access to the materials, and we do you one better. I don't know any place that does this. And sorry, this is where we get to kind of shout out FDN. I feel like we're normally pretty diplomatic, but this is where we will shout out FDN strengths. Not only do we give you permanent access to the course material, you will also get permanent access to the updates. So the second logical question then would be, well, wait, is there even a lot of updates? Brandy, you tell me, is this course a little bit different than when you went through over 10 years ago? Because I know for me at 9 years ago, I feel like I got to get a second course for free, more or less.
Yeah, absolutely. So the principles of FDN have not changed, but I can tell you that at any given time, Reed and Elizabeth are always reviewing the course material, making updates. If lab measurements change, they go in and update it. If new science come out, they come in and update it. Reed sometimes likes to come in here and just re-record because he thought the last time he did it was great, but he could do it better. So we're always re-recording the content so that you have fresh material, it's up to date, and you always get access to those updates. So As long as you are in good standing, you can get access to the updates at any time.
Okay. Well, and thank you for taking the second to pause and ask, because apparently for this it is a little too small. So I'm going to do a little trick here where
Great.
I will hide your camera. We can still hear you on audio. I'm
Mhm.
going to maximize this and do the same thing for me. So you are good to go and keep presenting. They can't see you on video, but now we have full screen. So thanks, Brandy.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time in each of these modules because, again, I want to make sure that we can get to all of your questions. But the module 1 is where we start to get into the philosophy of FDN and how we're different. So you can see here that when I have it opened up, that we have several lessons in here. And after each lesson, there is a quiz. And I didn't mention it, but I did say it was multiple choice, but you can retake them as many times as you want. And those quizzes do not count towards your grade. They're just there for you to test your knowledge. So the first page, whenever you go into a module, just gives you the breakdown, and then you can go into each lesson and you can watch them. And so as you complete it, you get a check mark. It opens up the next one for you to watch. So module 2, this is where we start to get into the actual testing. And this is starting to go over the first test that you're going to get in your tuition, which is a salivary hormone test. We call it our stress and hormones profile. And it's a 4-point cortisol. We're checking estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, secretory IgA, and I am missing a marker, but we are testing all of those things on this salivary test. You have 2 modules that actually go over this test. So module 2 is where we start to get into the physiology and the science behind hormones and how they work. And Reed's genius is that he teaches this to you in a way that you're going to be able to then explain it to your clients. It's not going to be so over your head that you're not going to understand the biochemistry, but he's still teaching it to you because it's really important for you to understand. So he goes into the biochemistry, the physiology, all of the hormones in module 2. In module 3, this is where he starts to go over the test itself and what the markers mean. So you actually get 2 complete modules on the first test, which is the stress and hormones profile. Once we go into module 4, and I'm going to click on this so you can see it a little bit bigger here. Module 4 is where we start to talk about the second test that is included in your tuition, and that is called the metabolic wellness profile. That is a dried urine test, and this is where we are looking at things like detoxification, oxidative stress, and then we're also looking at how well you are digesting and absorbing nutrients. So this is a mighty test. There's only 3 markers on it, but it gives you a ton of information. And so in this module, this is where we're diving into the importance of detoxification. We're going to talk about the liver. We're going to talk about the anatomy and physiology. We're going to talk about oxidative stress, and also get into the markers and what they mean and what you can infer from those markers. So that's module 4. Module 5 is where we go into the third test that is included in your tuition, and that's the mucosal barrier assessment. That's a dry blood spot test, and that test is looking at zonulin, histamine, DAO, and the ratio between the two. And Reed also talks about other intestinal permeability testing, it's a urine test from Genova that was used before we were testing for zonulin. So you get into all of the, again, biochemistry, the anatomy of the gut wall, the mucosal barrier, what permeability means, and into all of the markers and what those mean. Then in module 6, this is a doozy. This is a big one, but this is the one where we're looking at the 4th test that is included in your tuition, and that is the GI map stool test. And this is where we're going into pathogens. So this test goes over parasites, bacterial infections, fungal infections, what can happen from those. This is a very long module, but a lot of really great information. And the GI map also includes some really important intestinal health markers. So we dive into those markers as well. After module 6, we give you a little bit of a break because it is a pretty big one, and we start to introduce you to documentation. And this is where you're going to learn about the importance of intake forms, and this is also where you're going to have the opportunity to fill out your own intake forms because you're running the tests on yourself and you're acting as your own first client. So you're going to learn about the importance of them, and you're going to get the opportunity to fill those out for yourself. Module 7, that's where we go over the 5th test that is included in tuition, and that is the food sensitivity testing. And in this module, Reed goes over the different types of food sensitivities, the different types of tests that are out there, talks about the one that we like the most, and then how to interpret food sensitivity test results, and then what to do with those test results. And he talks about using them with adults, but also with children, which is great. So the first 7 modules is giving you the background behind the testing, the how and the why, the testing that we use, the different body systems. Once we start to move forward, now we're going to jump into, now that we have the testing information, what do we do about it? How do we take that information and actually create a protocol for somebody? So module 8, that is, it's not necessarily a test, but it's explaining the philosophy of metabolic typing. And this is actually an online assessment that starts to talk about diet and helping you figure out what the right macronutrient ratio is for you or for your clients. And you will actually get the ability to do this assessment on yourself. Once you've done this assessment, you're also going to get a link to be able to go and book a call with one of our mentors to go over your test results so you can start to get started on your own personal protocol. So that happens here in module 8. Modules 9 through 13, this is where we go into the protocol section. So I think you guys probably heard Elizabeth speak this month, but we are going to go into the 5 pillars that we look at of lifestyle, and that's diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation, or DRESS. We like to call it our dress for health success. So modules 9 through 13 is breaking up each of those pillars. So module 9 is where we go and dive deeper into diet. Module 10 is where we dive into the R for rest or sleep and the importance of that. Module 11, we jump into exercise, and we're not teaching you how to be personal trainers, but we're also teaching you about the importance of movement and how you can talk about that with your clients. Module 12 is where we start to talk about stress and stress reduction. And this is where we teach you that stress is not just mental emotional. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of stress, and we explain that in here, and we talk about how to address those with your client. And then module 13, this is a big module that's split into 2. This is where we start to talk about, sorry guys, I got an emergency alert on my phone. That was awesome.
Scared the heck out of me.
I know, sorry. Module 13A, this is where we start to talk about the fundamentals of supplements. So, what is our philosophy on supplements, the different delivery mechanisms, single ingredients versus blends, supplement quality, some really important things for you to understand about supplements. And then 13B is where Elizabeth comes in and actually teaches you how to put together a supplement protocol. And so you're going to get access to our 90-day protocol format, and you're going to get examples of how to put a protocol together. And the reason we have you go through all of this first is we're preparing you for when you get to go over your own test results with your mentor, because you're the client, so you want to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And it's also preparing you for when you do the practicals, where you get to act as the practitioner, and the mentor is going to role play with you as your client. So we've done the hows and whys behind the test. Now we've looked at, okay, how do we put together a protocol? Module 14 is where we give you some case studies to put all of it together so you can see what it looks like in practice. And after you've completed module 14, this is when you get to start booking sessions with a mentor to go over your test results. So you'll get the metabolic typing session, which I talked about at module 8, and you're going to get 3 more sessions that you have available to you now at module 14. And those are to go over your personal test results and to get support on your own protocol. So once you've gone through your personal protocol, you'll go into module 15. And this is where I'm going to share this with everybody here, Evan. Like, I don't know if you know about this, but we are actually adding a whole bunch of content here. And this is to help you in business. So we're adding a lot of business content in here. We've got some really great stuff with Reed, where he talks about how to onboard a client, how to do a sales call with the client, his 8 questions that he uses with clients to determine if they're the right fit. And we are working on adding a lot more content in here that should be out in this module in the next month or two. So this is going to be a really robust section to kind of help you get started in practice. And this is also where you're going to learn more about the medical director program, which I will talk about in a moment. Module 16 is the final module of the course, and this is where you take everything that you've just learned, your experience of being a client, and you put it into practice, and you actually get to role play with the mentors. So you're given a mock case study, and there's really clear instructions. So I'll just open this one for practical 2. We give you the format, we give you all of his history, we give you the test results, we give you the explanation of what you need to do, and you are booking sessions on Zoom with a mentor, and you're role playing being a practitioner. And you get to do that 6 times because we want you to really feel confident that you know what you're doing when you graduate. And these practicals are not meant for you to feel overwhelmed or to be scared. It's actually a really great opportunity for you to practice and get feedback from the mentor and ask them questions so that you feel confident. So once you've completed all of your practicals, this is where you're going to submit your written exam. So we do have 2 exams. The first one is a written exam. It's an open book exam. I think, Evan, I heard you talking about it on the trainee roundtable last week, where you did your exam over a couple of days. I did mine over 2 weeks. I just went bit by bit every single day just to feel comfortable, and we allow you to do that. Once you've passed the written exam, you do need to get at least an 80% to pass, and we do have a very high success rate. It's actually over 90% on the written exam. You'll do an oral exam, which is it's a 45-minute session, but you get 30 minutes where you're being questioned on the principles of FDN. Now, if you have gone through your practicals, you are ready for this exam. So that is the job of the mentors, to make sure you're prepared for the oral exam. And then the last 30 minutes is where you get to ask Tess, our qualification mentor, any questions you have now that you've graduated. So once you've completed that, she gets to congratulate you and tell you that you're a graduate. And then the last step before you get your certificate is a 30-minute session with Reed or one of the leadership team, where we get to interview you and we ask you questions about your experience and get your feedback. And Reed has been doing that since the very beginning. He still does those sessions today. And we take the information that we get from those interviews with you, and we use it to make improvements in the course. So that's really important to us, and we continue to do that. So that's the course. I'm going to pause for a second, Evan, just to see if there's any questions we want to address right now before I talk about MDP.
I just one thing I'd like to say out loud, because some people might miss the chat if they're watching on recording ever. Important one. So do we do our own lab testing when we get through the modules? Yes, it's one of the coolest parts about FDN. At least that's what people say to us is one of the most cool parts, and I agree with this. It's also a lot different. Maybe that's why I don't think about it as much, because it was cool when we went through, Brandy. You and I got to run a couple of labs. Guys, now is a completely different experience. So back then, again, Brandy and I would have gotten to run about 2 labs going through the course. You had to pay for everything else. Changed it completely now. So when you go through FDN, doesn't matter if you're on a payment plan, doesn't matter if you did third-party financing, does not matter to us. You get 5 foundational labs included in the cost of tuition. We have no problem saying this. It's not private information. I mean, you get over $1,200 USD of lab testing included in your tuition, in addition to a metabolic typing test as well. So you will literally be your first FDN client. And why would we do this? A couple of reasons. One, when you get those results back, it's not that it's bad to be selfish with labs, but we are selfish with labs. There's never going to be a more interesting set of labs than someone we really love or finding out what's going on with ourselves. So your first part of your one-on-one mentorship is actually going over those lab test results. So imagine you've gone through all these modules, you have all this stuff in your head, and now it's like, all right, how do I make it real? And the first client you get to look over with a mentor is yourself. So I think, I don't even know if Reed intended to do that, but I would imagine the retention rate is extremely high because we know, like, dopamine, for example, is associated with better learning outcomes. And there is nothing
Mhm.
more exciting than seeing your own lab results. Even if they're not great or you want them to be, at least you know what's going on now and can work on it. So yes, you will be your first own FDN client. And again, there was two reasons. One, helps with the learning, but two, you get to walk the walk, man. There's no better way to go offer these services to someone else than having went through the services yourself. So that's just one I wanted to address right now, so people caught it on recording.
Yeah, and the other thing, I mean, when you and I were going through the course, there was only 2 practicals. Now there's
Good
6.
point.
Yeah, so I mean, you're really getting a lot of practice before you graduate, so you can feel really confident as soon as you graduate, which is
You
big.
weren't supposed to tell them that because I wanted to sound cool whenever I say I went through the course in 2 months. But yeah, it's just a little bit harder today, guys, just a tad bit.
Yes. Now, before we jump into the medical director program, because people will probably have questions, how do I have access to labs? Because I'm not licensed. I do just want to talk about what does it mean to be in good standing and our recertification requirements. So we do require you to recertify every 2 years from the date that you graduate. The recertification fee is $129, and it's 12 hours of continuing education. Now, that 12 hours can be anything related to the health field that shows us that you are actually furthering your education to keep yourself up to date as a practitioner. It could include some of our advanced courses, which I'll show you in a few moments. But there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And it's just so that we can ensure that you are actively practicing and actively looking to better yourself as a practitioner. So I'm going to jump over to the medical director program. And this is not a course. The medical director program is a service, or the service that we offer to all of our graduates to access testing as non-licensed practitioners. We are the first to have done this. So we were around before the Avexias and some of the other lab dispensaries that I'm not going to name. We've been doing this for a very long time. And it's what gives you the ability to access testing without a license. So how it works is we are partnered with Avexia Diagnostics, and every person who graduates from the FDN course has the ability to go open a direct account with Avexia to access hundreds of functional lab tests. The reason that we partnered with Avexia, and this was very recent, we did it on our own before, but we wanted to give you access to the best pricing possible, and Avexia allows us to do that. So you're able to access testing for yourself and for your clients through Avexia. Now, the one thing that many of the lab dispensaries don't do is they do not service international clients, and a lot of them don't service New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island because those states tend to be difficult. This is where our program comes in, because we do have the ability to support you with clients in New York, Rhode Island, and New Jersey. And we do have the ability to get testing for you and your clients if you live outside of the US and Canada. And the reason we were able to do that is we've worked really hard to build partnerships with labs overseas. The other benefit of the medical director program is we have a team of clinical advisors who are there to support you if you run into a problem. So you can book a session with one of our clinical advisors. We have 30-minute sessions all the way up to 90-minute sessions where you can go over test results if you're not sure or you need help with interpretation. And they are not doing these from the perspective of, oh, this is high, give them this. They're actually doing it from the perspective of the FDN philosophy. And this is really important because even as a practitioner for almost 12 years, I still do clinical advisor sessions every single time because I want that second pair of eyes on the case to make sure I haven't missed anything. And I have done clinical advisor sessions with the labs directly, and I came away disappointed because they weren't very helpful. They just said, oh, give them this prescription. I was like, well, I can't. I'm not licensed. Like, tell me what I can do with lifestyle. And oftentimes they're not able to do that. So there's a lot of support here in the medical director program with access to lab testing, but also clinical support that we can provide to you as well. So the next thing I want to talk about is what happens when I graduate. How do I get support? This is where our Association of FDN Professional comes in. This is our postgraduate membership. There is a fee. It's $33 a month, but that fee, I mean, the amount of content that you get and what you get for it far outweighs the $33. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that you get included in this membership. You get exclusive access to be listed on the directory on our main website. You get access to the Natural Medicines database. This is a subscription that we cover for you, but this is a database where you can go in and compare, supplements that you want to recommend versus potentially medications that your client is on. It will tell you if there's any interactions. You get exclusive access to the job board. So I was actually on the job board yesterday, and I think we've got 8 jobs on there right now. For people looking for FDN practitioners, and we're getting jobs sent in to us all the time. So if you're looking to potentially work for somebody else, maybe you don't want to build your own practice, or you want to work for somebody else to start, the job board is there. Now, Evan and I will both be transparent and tell you, we have 8 listings, which is awesome. If you're banking on getting a job, there's a lot of competition, but we are getting more and more people who are wanting to hire FDNs.
Yes, sorry, I didn't know if you meant for me to jump in there, but I appreciate when you say that because, guys, again, that's what the whole Discovery Series is for. We always want to be transparent with you guys. The day will probably come, which is nuts to think about, but it will eventually come where we can say on these lives, hey, yeah, if you're someone that doesn't like the entrepreneurial side and wants to do the job side afterwards, yeah, we can get you placed within a couple of months, guaranteed. But we don't have that today. But for people like Brandy and I that are even seeing a job board, let alone one that's filled with listings right now, I'm not trying to make it sound old, but I can't tell you it's just like a night and day difference. I never even thought that'd be a part of FDN. Let alone that's how like my wife got started, and a lot of the stuff that she's doing now, almost every opportunity that she's had has been directly or indirectly from that. And now, full circle, she's the one helping provide some of the jobs. We've hired, I think, 10 or 11 practitioners for Dr. Josh Axe's company, and then she's hired a few sales reps as well. So we're also trying to give back to the community as well for those of us that have been fortunate enough to get good opportunities from it.
Awesome. Yes, yes. In addition to all of those, we actually have, I think it's about 1,000 hours worth of content. This is ongoing education for you, everything from clinical training to business training. We have many of our lab partners come on and teach additionally on their labs. We have supplement partners come on. We have lots of people who have come on and done additional training. We have Detective Hour, which I love. This is where FDNs bring cases and they go over an entire case with a clinical advisor for an hour, and you get to learn from them. We've been doing Detective Hour since 2016. So there are so many cases in there that, if you looked up a search term like, I don't know, how to deal with H. pylori, like you'll find a few dozen or more detective hours going over different scenarios. So this is invaluable in and of itself. I love Detective Hour. This is a great one. And then you also get access to some exclusive discounts. So we try to make sure that if we are bringing any product or service that we think would benefit our practitioners, we want to make sure that we get a discount for our members. And so that's another perk of being part of the post-grad membership. Now, this is one of the newest things that we've added, and I just want to show this to you, as we've added this page called Business Launchpad. And what Business Launchpad is, it's an area where we are providing to you access or the ability to access business training. So some of you are coming in, you already have an existing practice, you probably don't need the business support, but some of you are starting from scratch. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave you the opportunity to access some really good business training to get the leg up in practice and get you going. And so when you come into the Business Launchpad, this is kind of like a map. It helps you decide, where am I? Am I just launching? Am I kind of good at business, or am I an expert? And so we recommend what the best options are for you. And so we do have a couple of courses in here that are really amazing that you will all have access or be able to purchase with the course. So we have access to Practitioner Business Essentials, and I think Jen talked about that earlier in the month. We've got one-on-one business mentoring available. We've got done for you lecture packages, so you can turn these into an in-person talk, or you can turn these into an online webinar. And then we've got some done for you courses. So one of our clinical advisors, Paula Reed, she's created a couple of guides or courses that you can deliver to your clients, which is great. And they're very reasonably priced. We talk about a good customer platform on here, and then just some extra stuff like supplement dispensaries, where to get insurance, things like that. So that's what our business launchpad is all the things you need to run a practice in one place. And we've got that here. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, and we're going to jump into questions, is our advanced course catalog. So we have been adding to this catalog a lot this year. We've added a lot of new content. But the reason that we did this is we saw that people, once they graduated, they started to ask questions about specific topics, or they wanted to niche in a particular topic, or they wanted to deep dive. And so we made these mini courses. Many of them are 10 hours or less. A lot of them are probably 5 to 7 hours on very specific topics from the FDN perspective. And so we have a whole catalog of those. You can see here that it tells you the amount of hours that it counts towards. So, if you're trying to get your continuing education credits, you can get them by taking FDN advanced courses. And so we've got a couple of new ones that we've added down here. Actually added a lot recently: mastering mold illness, gut brain axis, brain chemistry, navigating hormone therapy. And Nicole, who takes care of this, she's got a whole year's worth of content ready to come out. Like, we've got almost a new course coming out every single month in 2026, because we want to make sure that we're continuing to help you and educate you on different topics. So we do have this available to everybody as well. So I'm going to stop my share, because that's kind of the tour, and I want to open it up for questions so that we can jump in and answer questions for everybody.
All right, sorry, I have to redo my trick here to get us back on video. Give me one sec.
No worries.
There we go. And beautiful. All right. I cannot wait till I fix this red thing. I'm so tired of looking sunburned. All right, guys, so we will go to the pinned questions here. Thanks for being with us. For those of you that did tune in a little bit late, just know that the replays for all of our Discovery Series in our November Black Friday event, they're instantly available, which is really cool. Everything here is streamed onto YouTube. Now, some of you might be watching on either Facebook or LinkedIn, but everything goes to YouTube. If you go under our live tab, or the playlists, either one works. You can see it very clearly on the playlists, but if you go under the live tab, you can see what we've done throughout the past week and a half, the last 8 days roughly, and you can click on any session that you'd like. I can tell the case studies were super popular. We have over 300 views and counting on Ryan's case study yesterday, so super glad that you guys liked that. And remember, tomorrow we will have a case study with Jennifer Woodward on peptides and perimenopause. We'll also have a 6-figure FDN session, which is with Sarah Ball. What that means is, again, we're not all about money here, but if you guys are going to invest with us, we would like you to know that there are opportunities to have a real business afterwards if you so choose. So 6-figure FDN sessions are all about people who have actually made and sustained 6-figure businesses or more with their FDN practice for multiple years. So she'll be doing that tomorrow. And then on Friday, we have another case study with Bria Gadd. As I've said every session, if you cannot make anything else, please, 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 Monday, December 1st, that is Monday, December 1st, block off your calendar at 1 o'clock Eastern to make our closing keynote with Leah Brueggemann. We also have a huge Q&A afterwards with Brandy, myself, the founder of FDN, Reed Davis, education director, Elizabeth Gaines. If the keynote in that can't get you going, I don't know what will. So we are looking forward to seeing you then. Okay, here we go. I have been following your series. I still have questions on whether there's access for lab testing. Testing should for clients in Asia, particularly Jakarta, Indonesia. You know, it's funny. I think we actually know that one offhand because we've been asked that one. I don't know it, but you got just the woman for it. So what about that place in Indonesia?
I can't guarantee, but I know we do have a distributor, an Asian distributor that is partnered with Nutripath Labs out of Australia. And for the most part, other than a few remote places in China, I think we were able to get kits in most places through that distributor in Asia.
And on a bigger topic here, this is one of the reasons our medical director program is still cool and relevant in today's world. Because Brandy talked about, we were some of the first, if not the first, to do it way before Avexia and Rupa. The difference with those companies, even though they're great, we have a partnership with Avexia, for gosh sake. but they're going to be limited to where they go and what they do. We are serving FDNs and FDNs first, and FDNs only, actually. You have to be an FDN to get the MDP. So we are willing to try to figure this out for you guys pretty much anywhere in the world. So kind of a cool
Yep.
perk. All right, what are payment options for people from Canada? Are there options other than credit cards? Try to avoid excess conversion and visa fees when possible. Again, another perfect woman for the question. She's in Canada. So what do you got to say for this?
I'm assuming this question is about the course itself.
Yes,
So
yes.
if you do a payment plan, it is credit card. I would definitely jump on a call with our team because they can kind of help you figure out or navigate which the best option is for you. I know the exchange rates are brutal. We do have a couple of longer term payment plans, which could make it a little bit more affordable for you. But on a payment plans, we do need a credit card. Now, having said that, we also do have an outside financing company that does have loan options in Canada. And so you could check that out. And again, we can send you the link for that, or you can get on a call with one of our team members and they can share that with you. And that gives you the ability to actually pay for the course in full because they're funding the whole price of the course. And then you can pay them. And I believe you pay them in Canadian funds.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenna, for being on top of that. She dropped the link for you guys below to book a call. All right, next one here. Are there any restrictions on how to use FDN materials for marketing purposes? Good question.
Yeah, so we definitely, when you graduate, we actually send you an email that like gives you a document on how to use your FDN credentials correctly. But then also, if you are using FDN materials, I mean, basically, you want to link back. So if you're doing a blog and you're referencing FDN or things that we talk about, you want to make sure you're linking back to us because we were the originators. You also do not want to change anything that is copyrighted. So in the document hub that I was showing at the beginning while we were letting everybody hop on, it tells you very clearly if you can edit it or not, and if you can, how you can edit it. So we do give you parameters around that.
Cool. Okay. Can you do the labs? So person was talking about the labs that we do on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do the labs at any time, or are there certain times throughout the course they are slated for?
Yeah, so typically because you're waiting till module 14 to go over your test results, you don't want to do them at module 1 and then like they're 6 months old. So we generally recommend and we send you reminders to start thinking about collecting your samples around module 6. That gives you plenty of time to collect all of your samples, get them to the lab for the lab to process them so that we have all of them on time for when you get to module 14 and you can meet with your mentor.
Beautiful. Buffing these out really nice. Holly, is there anything in the course that addresses EMF, 5G, radiation, etc.? I'll give you half a break here. So no, this is not an extensive course on those things. And Holly, this is one of those things that's indirectly brought up, right? Like we will talk about this as being a stressor, even in our intake forms. We'll discuss things like, are you sleeping next to a router that's on and not unplugged? Are you around computers all the time? I mean, my gosh, I got the teleprompter, laptop, this computer. I need a whole detox from EMF after I'm done my workday. Probably same with Brandy. So we do recognize the significance of it in health. I want to be very clear. We're not saying that it doesn't affect health. I can prove with studies that it at least affects our sleep. I definitely can prove that. But no, this is not going to be some extensive training on those things. We do have recommendations for those that want to dive deeper into it. Also have both podcasts and our sessions in AFDNP, our graduate group, where we have some guest lecturers come in. But Brandy, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think anything's been updated to the course. We're not like teaching this per se.
It doesn't go in depth. I mean, we definitely talk about it as a stressor, like you mentioned. And then in EFDNP, we actually do have some webinars, I believe, with what's that guy's name? The EMF
Nick.
guy, Nick. Yeah, we do have some stuff with Nick Pinault where he goes a little bit deeper into EMFs. So that's additional stuff that we have as part of the association that you get access to.
Beautiful. Okay, so I don't know if this person's also from Canada because I find that, I only find this question interesting because I would not say this is true in America. Could be wrong though.
Mm-hmm.
People usually rely on their extended health benefits for their health expenses. Is there any of the practice can be covered? Okay, any of the practice that can be covered, or any business model, like maybe collab with a clinic to do that?
This does sound like a Canadian question. So No, so our services are not covered by insurance or extended health benefits. They are the testing is also not covered, and the reason for that is we are not able to put a diagnosis.
Oh, we lost you for a second, Brady. Okay, there you go.
Okay, I'm back. That was super weird. So in Canada, we cannot diagnose or treat anything anyways. So it is an out-of-pocket expense. I will tell you, as a Canadian practitioner that it has been since 2014, I haven't found it to be a really huge issue. I still have Canadian clients coming to me who come to me because they've already tried the other routes. They've already been to the naturopath or the nutritionist or what have you, and they haven't gotten results, and they're willing to pay what they need to pay. And so it's just an all in how you approach and have the conversation with your clients.
Perfect. All right. Other than FDN advanced courses, what can you do to prove the 12 hours of continual learning? And I'm not sorry, I'm not sure if this was asked before you explained it, but FDN is super fair with this. Like, let's say, Brandy, I wanted to become, I mean, I did do this when I was younger, but let's say I wanted to become like a personal trainer or something. If I did that year, and that's probably even more than you need to do, but let's say I did it, I showed that you guys that I did this with this count for my continuing education.
Yes, you could go to a conference. So if you show proof that you went to a health conference, maybe you did a weekend workshop just on coaching, or maybe you did a weekend workshop on minerals or something. All of those things, as long as you can prove the hours, we accept those.
And don't forget, Angelique, if, well, maybe you don't even know this because you haven't heard it. AFDNP. So if you're in our graduate group, which the vast majority of new grads choose to just opt into anyway, that is considered your continuing ed. But we never want this to be a place where you feel like you have to do our stuff. That's kind of cheesy when a place only makes the continuing ed themselves. So we make it easy for the continuing ed, but anything that you're doing to support yourself in the health space, we love to see and just want to make sure our practitioners are actively in it. All right. How much is the one-on-one business mentoring? Is it one time or 3-month packages, etc.?
So we offer 3 session and 6 session packages. So the 3 session package is $597, and the 6 session is $997. So the first one is, I believe it's 90 minutes, and then you get 5 60-minute sessions. And you can choose whichever one you want.
Okay. All right, so we did get an update here. So Angelique said should have clarified payment options for paying in full from Canada, credit card, money order, etc. So assuming that there was paying in full, I think you had mentioned that that is one option that you don't need to use the credit card for. So do you know the other options offhand, or still able to call?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're paying in full, you could do PayPal. So if you have like money in your PayPal account, we could do that. You could do a bank wire. You could do, I mean, money order, you'd be waiting a while because we'd actually have to receive it. But I would say a bank wire or PayPal, those are some options that you can do.
And just so you know, this is what we're looking at in USD. Paying in full, always the best option if you can, because you technically kind of get. I'm not going to get into this right now, but you kind of get a discount regardless for paying in full. It'll always be the most affordable option, and you get some unique bonuses. So we'll drop this link for you guys. Jenna, if you get a second, if you could just drop fdntraining.com/bf25, please. But the pay in full is 9,400 USD, and then these are the payment options. That's all in-house, so there's no credit check. You can't get denied for it or anything like that. Hopefully, you guys wouldn't be getting denied, but just saying. And then there are loan options here if you look here. Those are third party, though. That is outside of our control.
Yep.
Just wanted to share that. Okay, and thank you, Jenna. All right, next one here. I think this was just a nice comment, but I appreciate it. Talisha said, hello, and thank you so much for doing this Discovery Series. I've watched and I've totally enjoyed geeking out over everything so far, and I'm just getting more and more excited to start. Awesome. So, come on, we got to put you on the spot now. When are you getting started? Ideally, it's before the end of the day on December 1st, right? Are you getting rolling before Black Friday is over? So, let us know. But thank you, though, for that feedback, because we talk as a team all the time, and I've said this probably on 3 different lives. I always say if your sales or marketing process needs to be hidden, you're probably doing something wrong. So this is true for all businesses. I shouldn't have to hide that from you guys. So I think we're so blessed that our marketing can literally be sharing stuff for free. And then not to mention, we have these amazing FDNs in our community. And, we don't always share this publicly, but it is true. We don't pay these speakers to come on. I mean, my gosh, Jen Sino, Brandy, I don't know if I told you this yet. Jen wanted to, she told me on Monday night she wanted to present for today. I'm like, woman, you are out of your mind. Like, you got way too much going on. So my point is, Jen does very well. We couldn't buy her if we wanted to, like she has an amazing business. And so these people literally come on just because they care enough about what we're doing and want other people to see it. So what a great way to do your marketing. You can do everything for free, let people make an informed decision. You already know what the discount is up front. So if you book in with our course enrollment team as well, there's no gimmicks there. It's not like they're going to tell you, hey, it's actually $3,000 off. I'm sorry to tell you that, but there's no extra discount. It's the same one that we already told you about. But you truly can have a consultative process on that call instead of having to have your guard up the whole time, wondering if this person's going to hit you with a gimmick. So that's what we do. It seems to be working for us, and we will always continue to sell and market within integrity. So thank you for that feedback.
Absolutely.
Next question. Oh, sorry, you did. Yeah, you touched on this one. I just didn't mark it off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oops. All right. Do you think that in the future, health coaching services will be acknowledged by insurance companies, and or is there any active lobbying actions from what you know, or even from FDN? Did that get cut off? Oh, it just says reads at the end, so I don't know what that was supposed to be. But let's start with these two. So especially the insurance side, Brandy, because the answer is yes, but that's not necessarily what you think it is.
Yeah, so NBHWC, which is the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches, has been lobbying for a while to get health coaching services covered by insurance. I am an NBHWC coach. I believe it was last summer that got shot down. They are trying again, but the problem is that in order for it to be covered, it has to be referred or subscribed or prescribed by a doctor. And generally, those coaches are going to have to be working within a doctor setting. The reason that we don't lobby for that is we don't want to be in the business of insurance, because once you start accepting insurance, the insurance company dictates to you how much you get paid. In the early days of the medical director program, when I was working in there was a couple of tests that we did use diagnosis codes for. We don't do that anymore. But when I saw what the insurance companies actually got billed by the lab company versus what the actual cost of the test was, it was crazy. Like, there were some tests that were being charged for $3,000, but the cash pay price was like $350. But I also saw it on the other end where, these companies were getting charged $75 for a $300 test. And so you don't really want to get into that, because then they're dictating to you how much you get paid.
I have no idea what it's like in Canada, but it's even well known by the average consumer in America. An example of this would be chiropractors and acupuncturists. So all the best chiros and all the best acupuncturists, no hate to anyone that takes insurance. I'm not saying that you're not doing what you need to do for your business, but all the ones that have the modalities that you actually want to do, you go and pay cash for. Because the ones that they can do covered by insurance, it's like, cool, I can get my back cracked or whatever, or I get a certain type of acupuncture treatment, but it's never what I actually want. And so it's kind of sad that it works that way. I'm not trying to make light of it. Obviously, what a cool world it would be if FDN could get fully covered by it. I would just say, at least as of right now, and I don't mean to put my conspiracy cap on, I am just saying there seems to be a slight correlation between some of the things that seem to work best and not being covered by insurance. I'm just a podcast host without a degree. I don't know. That's up to you guys to figure out. So, Dawn, I think I already gave this to you for doing this in front of Reed, but you get the Detective Ev Gold Star Award. So that's for the Detective Ev Gold Star Award is a very prestigious award for anyone who says something nice about our events in front of our COO or Reed. So I'm just having fun with it. But Dawn said, excellent series for anyone wanting to know what program is best for them. I've been looking into 4 others and none of them have done this. You guys win. Bam. Thank you, Dawn. Absolutely love that. And we're glad to have you. I know you've caught, I think, almost everything live. So really, really sweet. And then I appreciate this comment as well, just saying very transparent. So glad that we are able to help you guys out. That's what we want to do.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any of the labs able to be ordered by physicians?
Yes. So, I mean, if you have a doctor who's willing to do that and order it and give you a diagnosis code, they can. I have found personally with my clients, very few physicians will do that because they actually don't understand how to interpret that particular lab. We're not using the same testing that doctors would use. We are using tests that are considered non-diagnostic, meaning there isn't markers on there that you can look at and make a diagnosis from. They are giving us clues into dysfunction, and many physicians don't use them. And so if you can find one that's willing to do it, yes, it's very unlikely.
Mhm.
in my experience.
All right. If you guys have any final questions, let us know. Otherwise, a beautiful comment here. Talisha, excuse me, said absolutely. We'll take advantage of the Black Friday offer. Smart. You guys should learn from Talisha here. I've already completed too many certs in this space and still don't have the confidence to offer my heart to help people. This is it for me. Perfect. That's why we're here. Please, Talisha, if you don't depending on what you're doing this week, make sure you still watch some of the case studies because that's just going to further solidify it for you, right? When you see what these people can do, and they have all different backgrounds. We had Sharon today. Yes, that was a replay. Sharon has a PhD in engineering. I mean, so she's no dummy. She's a sharp cookie, but that's not training you in health. And yet somehow she's able to work with clients like this. Ryan, another smart guy. He was on yesterday. He's my business partner for a reason. I like him. But he was a musician before this. That's what he did for 10 years. He was not in the health space at all. Jennifer Woodward tomorrow was in pharmaceutical sales of all things. So again, smart and medical, but not holistic health, that's for sure. And then Bria, I don't actually remember what she was doing beforehand, but that's on Friday. So even cooler is, you can come from these different places and this can be kind of the home. Talisha, I could be wrong, but I'm hoping that you caught the keynote speech. If you did not catch that and you got some time after this, please go watch that. It's right on our YouTube. You can subscribe at the bottom right corner of your guys' screen. It's actually probably on the bottom right of Brandy where you guys are watching. And then under our live tab, so not videos or shorts, but live, you go back to November 10th. Her keynote's right there. It's ready for replay. And the reason I'm directing you to hers is not only because the keynote was fun, but Kelsey, the speaker that day, talked about how she went through 5 or 6 different certifications and why this one actually was where she felt at home and could really offer services to people. So if you haven't seen it, I hope you get to. Doesn't look like any other questions have come in right now. We did drop the link for booking a call below. Now, Brandy, do you have any final words of wisdom or encouragement, or maybe even some tough love for these folks?
I mean, honestly, if you've been thinking about this for a while, there is actually no better time to join FDN. Um, I I mean, I'm at the point now that I am just getting referrals, and every single time I talk to a client, I had a session today with somebody, and he literally said to me, "The fact that we just had a conversation and you heard me and told me that you think you could help me made me feel way better." So this work is needed. And if you guys are hesitant, trust me, there are people out there. They're begging for practitioners that can hear them, make them feel heard, and actually help them. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and we're just going to keep moving forward. So if you're not sure, you have questions, definitely book a call with our team. They're all great people, Ken, Karen, and Grover. They're not scary. They're not pushy. They're just there to help you decide if this is the right fit for you and answer your specific questions. I really encourage you to book a call with them if you're unsure and you still have some questions.
Cool. Thank you, Brandy. And I share the same sentiments. It's and Reed always says this. There's another thing that's transparent. I love when he says this. He's like, if it's between pay and FDN and your lights being on, go pay for the lights and come through FDN at a different time. If this is something where it's like, oh, I love this. I think this is for me. I just got to figure some things out. Figure it out, man. I have tried to prove myself wrong on this. I cannot find one graduate who's like, oh, I regret doing this, or I did this at the wrong time. I can't find someone. And I think there's a couple obvious reasons for that. When you're your first client, your health gets better. Do you understand how much easier it is to operate in the world and earn income and all that stuff? That alone is the ROI, right? Because for me, Brandy, I couldn't hold down a 40-hour-a-week job when I was that sick. I really could not. It was impossible for me to do that in my early 20s and late teens. And now Brandy knows you can't get me off the dang things. So when that energy comes back, just because of the output I'm able to do, my life was better with relationships, finances, all that stuff, let alone what I directly can do as an FDN practitioner. So I can't encourage you enough. Please have the courage to do it if you are feeling inclined, and you can always book in with one of our course enrollment advisors. In fact, I encourage you to do that as well. Get to talk to these folks beforehand, go through that consultative process to double check that it is for you. And okay, just one more comment here. I got to get to it. Talisha said, I did listen. That was the hook for me. Nice. Well, we'll shout out Kelsey for you. We appreciate it. I felt legitimately seen and heard, though I hadn't said a word. So much of this resonates with me. Appreciate you all. See you on the other side. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to having you on one of the events or a podcast one day as a speaker. I love these full circle things where I will never forget this too. I have a good memory with words and numbers, not images so much, but I'll remember your name. I'll remember this. I'll be like, on the podcast with you when it came full circle. So thank you so much. Very encouraging. And hopefully some of you take Talisha's lead. We will see you guys tomorrow. And let me get my times right, since apparently I love telling you the wrong times. We are going to be doing at 1 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. 1 o'clock Eastern. That'll be our first session of the day. And that's with Sarah Ball, six-figure FDN interview. I love those sessions. There's no presentation. So I start off asking some questions, and then everyone in the audience stops being shy, and then they ask theirs. It ends up being this 90-minute Q&A where, again, Sarah's just not, she just did an event for us. And she literally said, can I come back on and do something else? We're not able to offer these people anything for it, but she's literally not only on answering questions, but specifically business questions. This woman does very well for herself. So if you want to know how the business works, come on tomorrow with the questions. Let me ask some first. I know you guys get nervous and then you finally do it. But she wants those things. So be there at 1 o'clock Eastern, please. And then at 3 o'clock Eastern, this is back to back, 3 o'clock Eastern, 30-minute gap. I apologize. 3 o'clock Eastern, we have Jennifer Woodward doing another case study that involves the FDN methodology, also throwing in some peptides and specifically for a case around perimenopause. So we are really looking forward to seeing you guys then. And I hope you guys